The sky above Earth had always been familiar to its inhabitants. For centuries, humans had gazed at the stars with wonder, dreaming of what lay beyond, but nothing could prepare them for the day the visitors arrived. They came not with fire or war, but with calm, silent authority. Gigantic ships, smooth and shimmering like liquid silver, appeared just outside the atmosphere. They moved with precision, forming patterns that no human had ever seen. The aliens inside were known as the Zephyrians, a civilization older than most stars in the Milky Way. To them, Earth was a young world, full of potential but naive and untested. From the beginning, the Zephyrians underestimated humanity. Their scanning devices interpreted humans as fragile, simple creatures still struggling with basic survival. They assumed that once they arrived, their wisdom and technology would easily dominate and guide humanity. What they did not expect was humanity's subtle, quiet ingenuity. Dr. Ilara Singh, a scientist stationed at the orbital research station above Earth, was the first to make contact. She watched as the ships hovered silently, their surfaces reflecting the rising sun. "They're beautiful," she whispered to herself, unaware that the Zephyrians could detect thoughts as faint as curiosity. Within hours, the Zephyrians broadcast a message to every major language on Earth simultaneously. The message was polite, even inviting. "We are observers and guides. Humanity is at a crucial stage. We offer assistance. Accept, and we will help your species grow." World leaders met immediately. Some were suspicious, others intrigued. But humans, as always, approached this moment not with fear, but with thought and creativity. Dr. Singh and her team were chosen to host the first Zephyrian delegation. The aliens appeared as beings of light, capable of taking forms humans could comprehend. They introduced themselves with serene voices, offering technology that seemed almost magical: energy converters, climate stabilizers, and even medical devices capable of curing diseases in seconds. The Zephyrians' assumption was clear. They expected humans to be overwhelmed, grateful, and obedient. But humans did something different. Instead of accepting everything, they asked questions. "Why does this energy converter work this way? How did you solve this problem in your civilization? Can your medicine heal not just the body, but also prevent diseases naturally?" The Zephyrians were surprised. In their experience, young civilizations accepted gifts blindly. Humanity was not only questioning, but also experimenting. Within days, humans improved on one of the Zephyrians' devices. They found a way to increase efficiency without using extra resources, a solution the Zephyrians had never imagined. It was subtle, almost invisible, but it marked the first moment the aliens began to doubt their assumptions. The Zephyrians decided to test humanity further. They created a series of harmless challenges designed to measure problem-solving, creativity, and resilience. One challenge involved stabilizing a volatile storm system over the Pacific. Another required humans to unite disparate nations to share knowledge without conflict. Humans approached these challenges not with force, but with ingenuity. Scientists collaborated across borders, engineers designed machines that could adapt and learn, and communities contributed local knowledge to global solutions. Each challenge revealed a unique human strength: adaptability, collaboration, and an instinct to preserve life and harmony. Meanwhile, Dr. Singh discovered something even more remarkable. Humans were not just solving problems. They were doing it in ways the Zephyrians could not predict. They used art, intuition, and creativity alongside logic and technology. Where the Zephyrians saw a purely technical solution, humans saw opportunity for connection and improvement. The turning point came when humans unveiled a planet-wide communication network using quantum entanglement. Messages could travel instantly across any distance without delay. The Zephyrians had never seen such efficiency. It was a system that surpassed even their own advanced technology in speed and adaptability. The aliens watched in astonishment as humans not only built the network, but used it to solve real-world problems, coordinating disaster relief, predicting natural events, and even sharing knowledge instantaneously between scientists on opposite sides of the planet. "They are not young," one Zephyrian whispered to another, though their forms shimmered in a way that hid any expression. Despite this, humanity remained humble. They did not boast or claim superiority. Instead, they offered cooperation, suggesting ways both civilizations could learn from each other. This humility combined with ingenuity left the Zephyrians even more curious. Then came the most unexpected revelation. Archaeologists on Earth began sharing findings with the Zephyrians. Ancient structures, artifacts, and hidden knowledge hinted that humans had always been observers and learners, quietly shaping their world and even influencing neighboring species in ways unnoticed. The Zephyrians had assumed humans were young, fragile, and inexperienced. But evidence suggested that humans had endured, adapted, and innovated for far longer than the aliens realized. Earth, they slowly understood, was not a fledgling world. It was a seasoned teacher cloaked in simplicity. One evening, as Dr. Singh gazed at the horizon from the research station, she noticed a faint shimmer in the sky, like a distant ripple of light. It was the Zephyrians' ships moving in formation. But now she sensed a change in their approach. No longer did they hover with authority. There was curiosity, perhaps even respect. In the following days, the Zephyrians began engaging humans not as students, but as equals. They asked for insights, listened carefully to proposals, and even collaborated in ways that defied their centuries-old habits of guidance and control. Humans, in turn, continued their quiet brilliance. They did not dominate the Zephyrians, but they did something far more powerful. They inspired. Ideas flowed freely between the species. Solutions emerged that neither humans nor Zephyrians could have achieved alone. It became clear that the initial assumption, that Earth was young, was entirely wrong. The humans had always been capable, wise in subtle ways, and ready for the challenges of the universe. They were not a species in its infancy. They were elders in disguise, carrying the lessons of countless generations into a future the galaxy had not yet imagined. As the first part of this encounter closed, humanity stood poised at the edge of a new era. The stars no longer seemed distant and untouchable. They were part of a vast, interconnected universe ready to be understood, explored, and cared for. And the Zephyrians, who had come expecting to lead, found themselves learning from the humans who had quietly been leading all along. The galaxy had assumed it knew Earth's story. It was about to learn that humans had always been the authors of their own destiny. The sun rose over Earth like it had for billions of years, but now its light seemed to shine on a world no longer underestimated. The Zephyrians, once confident in their assumptions, had begun to understand something extraordinary. Humanity was far more than they had imagined. It started with collaboration. Across the globe, humans and Zephyrians worked side by side, combining knowledge and experience. Cities buzzed with energy as new systems were built. Machines that cleaned oceans, stabilized climates, and harnessed energy without harming the planet. But more than the technology, the Zephyrians noticed something deeper: the way humans thought, adapted, and cared for their world. Dr. Alara Singh stood in the observatory of the orbital station, looking at the horizon where Zephyrian ships floated gracefully above the clouds. She smiled as she watched human engineers and scientists coordinate seamlessly with alien technology. It was a dance of minds and ideas, a harmony neither species could have achieved alone. "The humans are remarkable," a Zephyrian said softly, its form glowing with gentle light. "We believed them young, simple, but they possess wisdom beyond our understanding." Ilara nodded. "They've always had it. We just had to show them the stars to realize it." The revelation came slowly but surely. Ancient ruins, long buried beneath Earth's soil, were now being studied with Zephyrian technology. Stone carvings and coded messages revealed that human ancestors had been observing the skies and learning from it for tens of thousands of years. They had created tools, symbols, and structures that contained knowledge about the stars, seasons, and even the behavior of distant planets. Zephyrian scholars were astonished. "These humans, they have been here longer than we assumed," one remarked. "Their wisdom is hidden yet enduring." Even more surprising were the artifacts showing early human contact with other civilizations in the galaxy, species humans had never directly interacted with, yet whose histories bore subtle marks of human influence. Through art, invention, and exploration, humanity had quietly shaped the growth of other worlds. The Zephyrians began calling Earth the Elder Planet. Their arrogance had been replaced with respect. The humans, they realized, were not just survivors. They were stewards of knowledge, teachers in disguise. Meanwhile, humans themselves approached the Zephyrians not with superiority, but with humility. They shared insights, asked questions, and listened with care. Every encounter revealed that being an elder did not mean dominating others. It meant guiding with understanding and responsibility. One evening, at a gathering in orbit above the Pacific, leaders of both species met. Holographic images of galaxies, stars, and planets filled the chamber. Humans shared their vision for the future, a network of knowledge connecting civilizations across the universe, not to control, but to learn and grow together. The Scifians listened, captivated. They had never imagined that a species so underestimated could think on such a scale, not for power, but for collaboration and unity. Dr. Singh spoke quietly, but her words carried across the chamber. We have learned from our past, from the mistakes and successes of our ancestors. We have faced challenges that tested not just our strength but our character. That is what makes us ready, not our technology alone, but our understanding of life, growth, and responsibility. The room was silent, then filled with nods, lights, and gestures of agreement from the Scifians. They had come to teach, but they realized they were learning. In the weeks that followed, humans and Scifians worked together to explore distant planets, not to conquer, but to study, understand, and preserve. They shared knowledge with other emerging civilizations, offering guidance without coercion. Humanity's influence spread not through force, but through wisdom, creativity, and empathy. The most extraordinary discovery came from the human archives. Ancient texts and digital records showed that humans had preserved knowledge longer than any other species in the galaxy. While other civilizations had risen and fallen, humans had maintained continuity of thought, art, and understanding. They were not merely participants in the galaxy's story. They had been quiet architects of its growth. The Scifians were humbled. They had traveled centuries expecting to teach, and yet here they were, learning from a species they had assumed to be young. Humanity had mastered the subtle art of influence, not through dominance, but through resilience, insight, and collaboration. Dr. Singh watched as young students on Earth, humans and Scifians together, explored holographic models of galaxies, debated ideas, and solved complex problems. It was a scene of hope, proof that wisdom was not measured in age alone, but in how knowledge was preserved, shared, and applied. One Scifian approached her quietly. We believed we understood growth and maturity, it said. But humans, they are the true elders. They have lived, learned, and guided all without arrogance. We see now that we misjudged the measure of wisdom. Ilara smiled. And now we share it, she said. Not to lead, but to learn together. News of Earth's transformation spread across the galaxy. Other civilizations, once distant and skeptical, began to approach with curiosity and respect. They saw a species that had survived, thrived, and grown in ways that defied assumptions. Humans were not the reckless younglings the galaxy had thought. They were leaders of thought, architects of harmony, and guardians of knowledge. The most striking change was not in technology or power, but in perception. Humans had taught the galaxy that age is not counted in years or years of rule, but in insight, creativity, and the ability to inspire growth in others. A civilization's true measure was how it nurtured knowledge, not how it wielded force. In the months that followed, humanity's influence expanded quietly but profoundly. They assisted planets in restoring ecosystems, guided emerging species in science and art, and built networks of learning that transcended light years. The galaxy began to see a new era, one in which wisdom, collaboration, and empathy mattered more than dominance or conquest. Dr. Singh often reflected on how far humanity had come. From a young planet thought weak and untested, humans had become teachers, collaborators, and guardians of knowledge. The Scifians, once masters, now traveled as students, learning from the very species they had underestimated. In a final assembly in orbit above Earth, humans and Scifians looked at the stars together. The Milky Way stretched endlessly, full of mysteries and wonders. And yet Earth shone brightly, not because of its size or power, but because of the life it nurtured, the wisdom it preserved, and the humanity it carried. The Scifians spoke as one. We have learned that youth does not define a species. Wisdom, patience, and understanding do, Earth. You have always been the elder among us. Humans did not boast, nor did they claim victory. They simply nodded, understanding that true leadership comes not from dominance, but from guidance, knowledge, and humility. The galaxy, Once blind to Earth's true nature, now saw the planet and its people with new eyes. Humans had quietly shaped the cosmos for generations, and now, finally, the universe understood. They had always been the elders all along. As Earth rotated beneath them, Dr. Singh looked at the horizon, feeling both pride and humility. The story of humanity was not one of conquest, but of endurance, creativity, and wisdom. And as the stars stretched infinitely before them, she knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had revealed its true nature, not as the young, reckless species the galaxy had assumed, but as the timeless, enduring, and wise elders, ready to guide the future with insight, collaboration, and hope.